My motto for my business is creating memories one balloon at a time.
Okay.
And it's literally, I'm blowing up 1 to 2 balloons at a time to create a large display.
How many balloons go into something like that arch?
Oh man, thousands of balloons.
Thousands of balloons. All right, I always like to start these interviews off with like really tough questions, but I think you've been watching
Yes.
our clips, so you might already know
Mm-hmm.
some of our tough questions. So I'm gonna start with a really tough one.
Okay.
What's the last app you look at on your phone before bed?
Either email or Canva.
Canva.
Yes.
Oh, creative.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. Is pineapple an acceptable pizza topping?
For me, it's not.
It's not.
Yes.
It's gross, right?
I know you have a thing with textures.
I do.
But for me, I like the dessert to be a dessert and a savory item to be a savory item.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, and they should not cross over.
Mix.
They should stay in their lane.
Keep it separate.
Yeah. I like that. I might start using that as my excuse.
Absolutely. Just like for me, like when we have family events, like do not put my dessert on my entree. I want it to be completely separate.
Plate.
Yes.
Yeah, it can't be on the same
No,
plate
it
because
can't.
then it's gonna touch and it's
Yes.
Yeah. Can you like? What about the food? Can the food mix?
I'm okay with the food.
Because I'm a food mixing guy.
Right. I'm
Okay.
okay with the food, but just not the dessert
Not the
in
dessert.
the entree.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so first of all, thank you for answering those. First of all, look at how beautiful this is, y'all. Are you serious right now? Thank you so much for making this.
First and foremost, thank you for having me.
course.
I'm a big fan of STIR.
I appreciate
And I
it.
love what you're doing here in the community and bringing entrepreneurs together.
I appreciate that. This is so cool. This is what you do.
Yes, this
So,
is my passion.
How did you get into
creating
this?
things. Honestly, growing up, I love creating and making things. It was more so like a hobby
Okay.
for many years. I love drawing. I love sewing. It was just something that I enjoyed doing.
Okay.
And so during the pandemic, where people wanted to celebrate special occasions but couldn't do it indoors, events really took off during this time.
did.
And also, too, growing up, my family always had parties, family reunions, where we would come together. Someone would specialize in cooking, and of course, you have those decorators.
Yeah.
So I would definitely volunteer to be on the decorating committee.
Got you.
And also, too, I have nieces and nephews where my sister would love to create these parties for, the kids, especially when Disney was really popular back then. So I will always, create different things for the parties.
I love it. So it's 2020.
It's 2020.
World is shut down.
World shut down.
And what were you doing at the time? What were you doing before this?
So currently, I work a full-time job.
Okay. All right.
I work for the 12th Judicial Circuit Court as a court monitor.
Okay.
So, of course, during that time, it was a lot of uncertainty and working
ton.
remotely.
Yeah.
And so people, like I said, wanted to celebrate special occasions but couldn't do it indoors. And so I started seeing a lot of balloon decor, starting to happen during that time. And so I was like, let me try something here. And so I went to balloon decor school during that time to get a feel for balloons and just decorating in general, learning trends and different, skills when it comes to balloons. And I'm like, I really enjoy doing this. So for the first few years of the business, it was more so a hobby than
it was fun.
Transition into a business. So my first event was with a relative. She was having her daughter's 14th birthday, a 90s theme. And so she literally threw me a bag of balloons. She's like, hey, I know you're creative. Can you make something with these balloons? We're running out of time. And I'm like, I know nothing about balloons. And so I just put it together and, people were asking me after the event, it was like, what's your business?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not a business, but thank you.
Yeah. It
And
can
so,
be,
like
though,
I said, during the pandemic, I was like, okay, I've had some, some practice with the balloons. And so some people think that I actually have a business. And so, like, why not transition it from a hobby to a business?
Wow. Okay, so weren't planning on doing it. It just kind of fell in your lap.
Thrown at me.
Thrown at you. It was thrown in your lap.
Yes.
Something you enjoyed.
Yes.
Which is interesting. I see a lot of business owners that start businesses that they're good at.
Right.
But not necessarily something that they also enjoy or they're passionate about. Right?
Absolutely.
It's not usually all all of or both of them.
Right. Like I said, you mentioned as far as the pandemic, people couldn't celebrate indoors.
Yeah.
So outdoor balloon displays really took off during that time. And so that's honestly when it was safe to bring the events from outdoors to indoors. That's when things started to take off
Now
for
it's
me.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now it's on.
Right.
I've seen some of your work. It's always really, really great.
Thank you.
I think the last time I saw, maybe not the last time, but the one that sticks out of my head is the Observer's 40 Under 40. And that looked great. I think the people took their photos underneath what do you call it? Is it an arch?
It's an organic balloon arch.
Okay.
It was over 35 to 40 feet long.
How long does something like that take?
Several hours.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand when it comes to balloon decor, there's a lot of prep work before you actually get a chance to see it. My motto for my business is creating memories one balloon at a time.
Okay.
And it's literally, I'm blowing up 1 to 2 balloons at a time to create a large display.
How many balloons go into something like that arch?
Oh man, thousands of balloons.
Thousands of balloons.
You have different, colors, you have different shapes and sizes and specialty balloons that create a display.
Yeah. So obviously in any business, any industry, there's competition. Like what makes Party Poppin' better than the next?
For me, I think everyone, when it comes to balloon artistry, has their skill set. And, when you decide to work with an artist, you look at their portfolio. I feel like for me, I'm very detail oriented, and that's what makes me, it makes me different from the other balloon artists.
Yeah.
I try to, like I said, learn the details. As you can see here, I studied your brand,
Yes.
the colors, and wanted to create something. And I try to make events memorable. And that's kind of like my goal, and I think that's what sets me apart from other businesses.
Yeah, the skill level, this attention to detail. Like these are the exact colors. And that navy is people don't often get that navy right. That's impressive.
Yes, like I said, a part of, you're not just blowing up balloons. Like I said, you're blowing up balloons, you're matching colors, because most clients come to you and say, hey, I want something that looks like this. So I'm literally studying, someone's work and try to also bring in my skill set to create a vision for the client.
I love it. Okay, so what was, when you said I'm going to go from hobby to business, first business?
Yes.
Okay. What was something about business that you didn't expect that you were going to run into? Like about being a business owner?
Honestly, I think I didn't realize how much I would have a lot of support from the community.
Okay.
Networking has been, because I'm more of the shy, reserved type person.
Okay.
So I feel like networking and building a brand for myself, it was not something that I thought that was necessary.
Like it's big of a deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, because for the first few years, it was a hobby in my mind. So I think that was another challenge to, transitioning from a mindset of being a hobby to a business.
That's a business.
So yeah, for the first year, I had to really, make that shift.
Yeah, I didn't think networking was like a big deal either.
Yes.
But I had early on in business, maybe 2 years, I'd gone to the networking events where you kind of you stand up and you're like, hey, I'm Chris and this is what I do.
Yes.
And there's 10 people there, stale coffee, most of them close to retirement, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not doing no more. That doesn't really work.
Right.
And obviously it's way more than that.
Yes.
It can be a lot of fun. It can be very fruitful, and it has been for us. Through shout out Sarasota Chamber and the Lake Ranch Alliance and the Manatee Chamber, great organizations.
Absolutely.
That these events that they put together, allow us to connect in like an authentic way.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. So the community's been good to you.
Community has been very good to me, especially like I said, the chamber. They're one of our regular clients, which I'm grateful for. But like you said, just putting yourself out there, being uncomfortable, especially when it comes to the networking and building a brand. Like I said, it took a long time for me to make that transition, like I said, from a hobby. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is actually a business.
Being comfortable. What did she say? What did Caitlin say? Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Yes,
absolutely.
Wow. So a relationship like the chamber, how did you get that?
When I first was like, learning about business, again, I come from a different background.
Sure.
And so my thing is I wanted to get as much research when it comes to owning a business and entrepreneurship. So the first things I looked into was SCORE.
Yeah.
And I also looked into the chamber, because under the chamber, they had the small business development
Yes.
program. And so I met with Scott Carpenter.
Yep.
I was like, I need to learn as much as I can when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, how about I introduce you to someone at the chamber? Have you thought about becoming a member? And of course, when you're in the early stages, you're trying to figure out what's best for you to, take part in. But, with them being in the same building, I'm like, sure, why not?
It's right there, yeah.
And so I met with one of the event managers there. Shout out to Heather.
Yeah, shout out Heather.
And so she was like, hey, you think about joining the chamber. We would like for you to join because we have an event that we would like for you to consider.
Yeah.
And so at the time I was like, oh, I'm not really sure, but I'll get back with you. And I think 24 to 48 hours later, I was like, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And so again, it started from there. And like I said, they've been a big supporter of my business, allowing me to do the 104th annual meeting, the Small Business Awards, in which you won.
I
Because
did.
we did the balloon stage there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
Fall for Sarasota, just some of the events, but they've been very supportive.
Okay, so that's what you would recommend for somebody else starting. Connect with SCORE, connect with the local chamber. And it sounds like those relationships, they just kind of evolve. Like, let me introduce you to this person. Let me introduce you to that person, so on and so forth.
Yes.
How big has that been? Has that been the driver?
Absolutely. So when I first started, I was, like I said, going to a lot of networking events, giving that 30-second pitch regarding the business. And so, and building those connections. At some events, you start to see the same people.
Yeah.
And so they say, oh, yeah, you're the balloon girl, so.
You're the balloon girl.
Yes. It's been a big support as far as the business, building connections and meeting people.
Wow. You're the balloon. And there's really not, I mean, you have competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know of anybody else when I go to events that does what you do at your level. I'm sure that there's people there that's what they do, like kind of on the side, like a hobby.
Absolutely.
But they don't do it at your level. Right?
Yeah, like I said, I do have, some competitors. There's a lot of great businesses that are around. But everybody, you can't do every event.
No.
I've learned here in Sarasota, there's a lot of events that's going on, and there is no way that you can do every single event. I can say I'm very fortunate. The majority of my clients are repeat clients.
Yeah.
So that makes it easier for me. But there's always something going on. So
that sounds like you're doing it right if you're getting repeat clients.
Absolutely.
That's what they say, right?
Yes.
I'm glad you look at competition that way. I do the same. We joke around here that we have many competitors, no competition, right? Like, but you can't do every event.
You can't.
We can't advertise for every single business, right? Nor should we. It's got to be a good fit too,
Absolutely.
right? It's a partnership.
Yes.
You're doing business together. So like, that's how I look at it. There's so many, and unfortunately, in business, business is cutthroat, right? So unfortunately, there are people who try to grow by like pushing others down. But I feel like, what is a rising tide lifts all boats. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So we can all eat. We can all feed our families.
Absolutely. Like, I'm very big on collaboration versus, being a competitor or competition.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Are you a early riser, night owl?
Night owl.
Night owl. So is there a morning routine, an evening routine? Like,
again, as far as I do work another full-time job.
For sure.
So I like to describe it as from 8:30 to 5. I wear a licensed clinical social worker hat.
Right. Right.
And then at 5 until midnight, 1 o'clock, sometimes later.
Later, yeah.
I'm the balloon artist, an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. How many hours a week you working, you think?
For which job?
Total.
Oh, gosh. I don't even count anymore, to be honest with you. So there's a lot of long days.
Yeah.
But it's so worth it because I have 2 rewarding jobs. And so I think that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you may, because you've been watching the show,
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. So you may know my history, but when I started, I worked at the Goodwill.
Yes.
40 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would run the business, kind of the same,
Mm-hmm.
not the same shifts or whatever. And when I didn't need the Goodwill anymore, I found myself able to work 12 and 13 and 14 hours.
Yeah.
And I don't subscribe, JD and I were talking about this earlier. Like, I don't subscribe to the fact that like your worth is how many hours you can work.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're starting a business,
Mm-hmm.
those hours are precious. They are valuable.
Absolutely.
And so the ability to go and work 12 and 13 hours and not get tired and not get burnt out,
Mm-hmm.
that was huge for me because I had already kind of proven it to myself.
Right.
Right. So and you're doing the same thing. Like, you're working this many hours and it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm sure there's times where you're like, oh my gosh. But when all of those hours are on your business one
Right.
day, oh my gosh, like a rocket.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I know the $1 million question everyone wants to know is when you're leaving your full-time job. And I'm not putting a time frame
You
on
shouldn't.
it.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of going with the flow. I'm just enjoying the process.
Right.
And we'll see what the future may hold.
Enjoying the game, the
Yes.
process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
very
fun.
fortunate I have, an employer that knows what I do for a
Good.
business, and they're 100% supportive.
Cool.
And that makes
cool.
it a whole lot easier.
Yeah, because you're here during the
yeah,
work days.
Yeah. Yes.
That's cool. So they support it.
Absolutely.
Wow. That was big for me. Excuse me. That was big for me. The goodwill was
I
cool.
remember.
Yeah. And we, I'll say I've stolen that mindset, right? Like, everybody here wants something, the business is my baby.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they want something of their own, and for them that's greater.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I want them to get there. I want each of them to get to wherever they're gonna go, even if that means one day they're not gonna be here. I'll be sad when that day is.
Of course.
But I'll be happy knowing that I played a role to getting them where they wanted to
Absolutely.
go. Okay, night owl.
Yes.
Night owl, but you still up early because would you say 8 to 5?
Yeah.
So
Some days are 7 to 3:30. Typically, like on Thursdays and Fridays, because most people have their events on Saturdays. So yeah, I have an early schedule on Thursdays and Fridays to start prepping for weekend events.
For a weekend event.
Mm-hmm.
Take any time off?
In the early stages, no.
Yeah.
This year actually was the first time I actually did a vacation.
Where'd you go?
I kept it really simple. I went to New Orleans with a group of cousins. We had like a girls' trip.
That's cool.
It was definitely difficult to break away from party popping. It was definitely on my mind the whole entire time.
Yeah.
But my cousin's like, Dana, you work so hard. 3-4 days, is it going to kill you?
That's right.
Put your phone down. Better yet, let me take your phone and just enjoy it. And it was something that I needed for sure.
Reset, right?
Yes. And it was right after graduation season, so it was the perfect time.
You were real busy during
Yes.
that, right? I bet.
Absolutely.
Wow, they call it Nolans, right? Is that
Yes.
what they say there? Nolans?
Yes.
You got family there? Or?
I don't.
Okay. So
Yes.
you're just going to go?
Just go and to go. They were hosting Essence Fest.
Okay.
So we went for
I'm
that.
familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And your friend told you that you needed it.
My cousin, she
Your
said that
cousin.
I needed it.
And
Yes.
you did.
Yes, I did.
All right. So you know what? Here's my theory. When you turn on like TikTok or YouTube, and I sound like an old dude. When you open the app and you see entrepreneurs, they on private jets, they're hopping in and out of fancy cars. They put their new suit on, blah, 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 whatever. They don't talk about 4 a.m. They don't talk about working on Thanksgiving. They don't talk about not going out with their friends or seeing any family.
Right.
They don't talk about none of that stuff. But that's the real.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it really is. And if you're willing to do that stuff, then you can win.
Right.
But everybody thinks that they're gonna start a business and then I'm here.
Right.
It's on. It ain't like that.
Definitely not, especially in the event industry for a while, unless you have a team of people. But your weekends, you don't have weekends.
They're gone.
Yeah, and so especially with my family, we host a lot of parties and events, and unfortunately, a lot of times I have to say no or I have to come later, and so it's a sacrifice when it comes to the event industry to have to say no to a lot of events.
It's hard to say no, right?
It is.
Because it's opportunity.
Absolutely.
But it's got to be the right opportunity.
Right.
And that's not a shade against what that opportunity was.
Right.
But for you in your season, it's got to be the right fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard. I was probably 3 or 4 years in the business before I and I learned it from a mentor.
Yeah.
When I started, I would take business from, as long as it fit with my moral compass,
right.
I'll take business from anybody.
Yeah.
Any deal I could get. Oh, you got money? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a project. And then it would be like a super, super headache. I was making, when I looked at it, oh, you made $5 on the hour is what you
Right.
did,
Yeah.
wasn't a good fit. And I had a mentor, like, you got to start saying no, walk away from the table. And it was the best thing I could have done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was huge.
So I have a question for you.
Shoot.
When did you know you were ready to make that transition from going from Goodwill to building a Gento?
Even when I left the Goodwill, okay, so when I was at the Goodwill, I had this goal of $100 a day.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the business to make $100 a day. And if I can make $100 a day, I could pay my bills. I was living in a little tiny apartment. I moved out of the motel, and I was like, three grand a month. I can do this. And so I got to that point, and I left the Goodwill, and it still wasn't about being in a business.
Right.
It was, I don't need this other job. This is paying my bills.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably another year before I thought, this isn't just me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a business. And I'll tell you the thing that, how you doing? I'll tell you the thing that got it, now that I'm thinking about it and saying it out loud, it was when I had too much work to do myself.
Okay.
Now I have to hire somebody and it was a writer. I'm not a writer,
Right.
but I was doing what I could, whatever. But it was like, okay, I need to hire a writer to come out and facilitate and fill this role.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. Now it's not just me. Now it's a business.
Right.
I better get an office. I better do this. And the goal started to change. And that was exciting.
Yeah.
Because it was as if I was giving myself permission to pursue this. Like, hey, I got something.
Right.
Yeah. I would say I was probably 2 years in, 2.5 years in.
Okay.
But that's what triggered it.
Okay.
Now, I wish I'd have realized it sooner.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is in Cincinnati, I had an apartment with a garage.
Mm-hmm.
And I would buy, I'm gonna sound real old here, but car CD decks, like CD players and subwoofers and amps and stuff like that for car stereos.
Mm-hmm.
And I would install them in my garage, and I would charge people to buy the stereo. I would buy the stereos out of a repo lot. So I would pay $20 for a stereo and sell it for $150 or something. And it was just making money.
Right.
It wasn't a business.
Right.
But if I had the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
that's a business. And I could have been, you know what I mean? I always had this entrepreneurial itch,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that's what it was.
Right.
So when you were talking earlier about, you wanted to learn everything about entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had had that foresight to learn everything back then, rather than just having to learn it the hard way.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel
That's a
like
good
for me, it's
question.
a little different too, like learning about entrepreneurship, because growing up, my mom and my dad was like, okay, you need to go to school, get a
Right.
higher education. That is going to put your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, mentioning creativity, I never thought creativity plus, business
Yeah.
can be something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Who knew?
Yeah.
I love it. You found like a need in the market.
Absolutely.
And what's funny is, like, it's often where people aren't inventing or carving out a new need in the market. Like, this is like, people I'm sure have been doing like creative things with balloons, but not to this extent. Like, people weren't doing this 20 years ago.
No, I think helium balloons.
Yeah.
So were, the popular thing. But again, during the pandemic, helium was so hard to get.
Oh, wow, that's true.
So freestanding balloon displays really took off during
Yeah.
that time.
Wow.
And that's where I think a lot of creativity behind balloon decor took off during that time, because you had to pivot from using
did.
helium-based balloons to freestanding.
Yeah. Okay, last two.
Yeah.
We've started this tradition where we ask a guest
Mhm.
to ask a question of the next guest.
Okay.
So our previous guest question for you
Okay.
was, how do you think AI will impact your industry?
Actually, I'm starting to see that, because when clients have an idea in their mind of how they want their event to look,
Yeah.
they're using AI technology
They are.
to create a mock-up, as you could call it, for their event.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to definitely, benefit because we can already have an idea of what your vision is going to look like.
Yeah.
Like I said, I use Canva a lot as far as my business and creating mock-up
You make the
displays
mock-up,
to be able to show clients of what their event can potentially look like.
Yeah.
So it's something I embrace and I'm actually looking forward to.
It's like helpful.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. And then last question.
Mm-hmm.
If there's going to be an entrepreneur in your seat
Yes.
next, I can't tell you who or what they do, but if you were going to ask an entrepreneur any question, what would that be?
Okay. If you were to host an event to promote and showcase your business, what would be your party theme?
What would be your party theme?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That's fun. Dana, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for the gift.
Of course.
and
Thank
for
you so
giving
much
us
for
the-
having me.
Of course. Appreciate you.
Take care.